What is up? So today I'm going to be showing you guys my Gemling Legionnaire. It's Tempest Flurry. I think there's a few people that uh, have made sort of a build guide on it. Like I know that streamer Waggle, he kind of did something with it. But I checked it out and it looked like it was kind of scuffed. Like I don't think he really is taking full advantage of how strong Tempest Flurry actually is as an ability. Um, But that's he's experimenting and stuff probably, so he might get there. Um, yeah, so let's go over it. Let's start with the gear. So um, so the core of the build is Pillar of the Cage God, Hand of Wisdom in action, and my version uses Doriani's prototype. Just because it's insane. It scales your damage crazy. Like I have minus 60 light res. So do enemies if you read the chest. It also allows you to only worry about two of your elemental resistances, fire and cold. Uh, you don't have to really worry about lightning resistances. Um, One important thing to note is if you do plan on making a character with Doriana's prototype, this quest right here in Act 2, the two sisters or whatever it is. Where is it? This one, Sisters of Garukan. Do not do that quest because it will give you 10% lightning res for each of them. So in normal and in cruel, and it'll mess your damage up a little bit because you only have minus 40. Um, so I don't. Well, Jesus. Right click that. Load screens. Yeah. So I just recommend you don't. I recommend you don't do those quests. I don't see why you would if you're doing this version. If you're trying to go to the Warrior Invictus route, if you have like a million divines to blow on a Warrior Invictus, um, I still don't think it's better damage-wise than Doriani's prototype. It's going to be faster clear because you're scaling your dex, which scales your attack speed, which makes you move faster, right? But you can move just as fast pretty much. Like at what point is too much? Because you can get up to, I think I got 21 attacks per second when I'm just trying to like blast maps, and I just respec all my passive points, small attribute points into dex. It'll go to like 21, and it's like absurd. Like it's actually absurd. Um, yeah, let's go back to the gear. So Doriani's prototype. You don't need this percent of damage taken recouped his life. I don't see it. That's just a random corruption I got when I was trying to get 3 sockets on this thing. I threw in a couple runes just to cap out the cold res. Well, I'm kind of playing hopscotch here. So going back to the weapon. So I have an 8% increase in attack speed corruption on this. But if you have a 3-socket one and you just put in these attack speed soul cores, it's totally fine. Like it's a small difference. It's a very small difference. This is more like on the higher end, a little bit rarer. But like I said, you don't need 8%. You'll be fine with just the 15% instead of the 18. Hand of Wisdom and Action Gloves. This right here is just a random pair with the fire rune in there just to help me with my res, right? The helmet, a couple of cold resist runes, attributes, some life, rarities, a little cute stat to have on there if you're mapping a bunch. You ideally want this thing to have armor on it, just because it helps you with guarding your lightning resist, and it's also your physical damage reduction, which is pretty important. And we don't have the most on that topic. We don't have the most, but you don't really get hit by monsters. It's super weird. Monsters don't really hit you. You're just kind of like running around, like just flying around the map, like insta killing them. It's kind of insane. Amulet, attributes, man, just attributes. Obviously, if you have an ass load of divines and you can afford an Astramentus, Like that's your best amulet, but I'm not quite there yet. Uh, but that would be a super insane upgrade for me if I had that. Like there's no telling how much more damage I would be doing if I did have that. I think it would kind of break the game at that point. Um, but yeah, onto the rings. So this is like these are super important. Obviously, every ring slot is important, but this one with ingenuity becomes extremely important if you're utilizing ingenuity. So the flat lightning damage on this scales the ever living crap out of my damage. Look, 234, it goes down to 140, which is one ring. And I promise you, most of that is that flat lightning damage. It's crazy how much that just adds to it. It's actually crazy. The attributes you want to have on there, the flat lightning, and then also these rings are the reason my res is capped at all. So like, look, if I take these rings off, dude, that's just like no bueno. So ideally, what you want to have on here is, cold or fire is the implicit, so a sapphire or ruby ring, a ruby ring with cold res on it, or a sapphire with fire, or if you have one ruby with fire or one sapphire with cold, that's cool too. You don't want all res because then that raises your lightning resist, and then that kind of screws the pooch with the Dorianis because it kind of messes your damage up a little bit. Yeah, so rings, super important. You don't really need life on them. I have 4,300 life, and I only have 26 life on the rings. The strength, obviously, if you consider that life, it's a little different, and it is, but yeah, the rings super important. The boots, these are like mad cheap. These are like 4x maybe. I know they were cheaper. I thought it was funny. They're cheaper than the soul core I actually put inside of them. And the interesting part is you don't really need movement speed on this because your attack is what's moving you, and it's not the movement speed on the boots. Like my WASD is just completely dreadful. It's so ridiculously bad. So yeah, so that's like kind of the gear overview. We'll go into the tree. So on first impression, this looks funky as hell, right? Over here. I'll explain that here in a second. So the travel nodes, all your attributes, it's going to be a mixture of dex and strength. You're going to have to go to Doriani and mess with the attributes refund and replace it with like int, replace it with dex, strength, just to see how it scales your damage because your setup may be a little different than mine. But there is like a perfect mixture in there where you can get optimal damage, like good HP and all that stuff. But you just have to find it. Unless you like do trigonometry or whatever for fun in order to figure that one out, because you got me. We're just chasing attributes here, so So 5% dex, this accuracy will is actually really nice for us because of this node over here. So if you see here, this gives us, so we have 13,478 accuracy. So this gives us like 55, 56% attack speed or something like that. If I'm just like ballparking it. Yeah. Okay, now we'll get to this. So the reason this all looks so funky over here, this is like unusual padding for sure. The reason it looks so funky is because of this jewel. So you may remember like the time loss jewels from like POE 1 where like if you put in a specific location, you can get like some crazy percent attributes, like percent strength or whatever in a location. This is kind of like that, except it's like way more OP. Like it's just anywhere. It's literally just anywhere. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 notables. So that's 36%, 36%, which is just nuts. Like if that was in POE 1, that would just be freaking game breaking, like for sure. So this over here is just like rage on hit stuff. So you hit so often that rage it just goes up so fast in comparison to like a normal character. So you got to capitalize on that attack speed somehow, and this is like a pretty good way to do it. So on the jewels, corruptions. Oh my gosh, can I please aim at that? So the corruptions are like really what you're chasing here. So like attributes can only be put onto a jewel through corruptions. If you can find a couple of useful stats on the jewel, that's a win. But mainly just hunt the attributes, and if you can fill in some useful stats, or if you have a lot of money to blow, you can just buy like an insane one probably. Um, but you got a lot of jewel sockets, so you're gonna be like spending like cash, man. Be crazy. And then you got this jewel right here. So what's super important about this jewel is this is all of our mana sustain that we have in maps. That recover 2% mana on kill is so huge for us. It's insane. It's actually insane. Like it'll keep your mana topped off, and you're using so much mana. It says 25 mana for like the cost, but trust me, like you are just like sucking mana. It's insane. The percent life on kill is not really that important on a jewel, just because we're going to be using cannibalism on the berserk, and that's 4%. I guess it adds a little bit, but I don't think it's that important. This jewel is like a little bit more on the expensive side. Like if you look on the website, it's like a divine minimum for just the mana or whatever. I think last time I checked, could have changed, I guess, but yeah. So this node right here is super important. I'm not sure on the math once again. I'm sorry, but this right here makes you do so much more damage. Just because basically lucky in POE terms is it rolls it twice, and whichever is the best outcome, that's the one it goes with, which is incredibly powerful when it comes to lightning damage, because the minimum is so low that like you really want that. That's so powerful. All right, and plus the increased lightning damage is pretty cool too. I guess, even though you have an insane amount of percent damage. We already went over this node, accuracy, whatnot. More like attribute, a couple useful stats on the jewel. That's kind of what I was going for here. Once again, this node is pretty huge for us. 1% attack speed per 15 dex. We have 675 dex, so like that's like what 40% or something like that. Once again, ballparking my math. Yeah. Percent dex, get the dex will, of course. So this jewel is actually pretty interesting. Not the jewel itself, but the jewel socket, should I say? So there's a breach jewel called like, what's it called? Whatever. Anyways, like it's this purple jewel. It like minuses your chaos res or whatnot, and it minuses your LE res by a little bit, but it like throws a ring up, and it allows you to allocate anything inside that ring. And I'm pretty sure, I haven't got to the point of really messing with it. I'm pretty sure you can grab this node with a small or very small one version of that jewel. And if you could do that, that's freaking huge, man. That's freaking so big. Because the 25 dex and the accuracy helps us a lot. It helps us a whole lot. Yeah, once again, on this jewel, just corruption. A little bit of accuracy, a little bit of attack speed. Pretty sweet. Yeah, I think that's the tree. Attributes. A little cute attribute node right here. A little bit of armor. Pretty sweet. But yeah, I think I already went over the skills. I don't think I did actually. Damn. Anyway, Herald of Thunder. So this skill right here is insane. Because you're always killing shocked enemies with Tempest Flurry, and what happens is it puts like a little lightning bolt counter up here like top left, and it'll say like 6, and that's how many lightning bolts are gonna cast on like per like say if I attack 6 times, it's gonna cast 6 different lightning bolts, and those lightning bolts are nuts. They have like an AOE at the bottom of them, and you're attacking so fast that all these lightning bolts are like shooting out on these enemies, and they're like overlapping, and it's just crazy. It's just really, really strong. Oh, one thing I didn't go over, this melee strike range. This melee strike range is awesome for a Tempest Flurry, because if you look at the quality of Tempest Flurry, it gives you the melee strike range. So you're at 10 here just on the jewel itself because of the ascendancy, and then you get the 2 here. So that'll give you 12 melee strike range, which is like, it's like huge. It's like over here, like beyond this well, you know? So like, and you're a little squishy to lightning damage and fizz, so like they never get close. So like Uncle Chell would be like totally proud and stuff. Can't let you get close. So yeah, Tempest Flurry, Herald of Thunder. I use Magnified Effect for bigger AOE at the bottom of the lightning bolts. Clarity for the mana. And then we'll go Tempest Flurry. We got Martial Tempo, Lightning Infusion for the damage, Primal Armament for the damage, Inspiration for the mana cost, and then Crescendo. This lightning bolt that comes out of the end of this attack, this Tempest Flurry combo, that casts twice because of this. And that's like the most damaging part of, see look, 321 versus the 239, or 234. It's pretty huge, pretty big. Makes it cast twice in succession, so you're getting a lot of lightning bolts. The Tempest Bell is for bosses. So I use Overabundance. What this does is I can smack the boss 4 times like so fast. Obviously, right? We're attacking 16.6 times a second. So every single time you hit him 4 times, you can place a bell down. And this bell takes 29 hits. So I can place like just a metric fuckload of like bells at his feet and just hit all the bells and then hit him with Tempest Flurry at the same time. It's just like this big chain effect that just like melts bosses. It's pretty crazy. I use Font of Rage just to generate rage while this bell is up. Culling Strike, so when this bell hits him, it culls him. And then the Overabundance. And I'm sure you can find like more links for this. Like I know like maybe Close Combat works with this thing. I think that would make sense. You know, I haven't really super min-maxed the skill aspect of it, except like Tempest Flurry. I just got this thing level 21 somehow. This is insane. And then we use the Berserk with the Cannibalism that I talked about earlier, and then the Precision for percent increased accuracy, which you know, helps your attack speed a little bit. And that is pretty much the build in general. I'm actually gonna go ahead and kill this guy, Arbiter. Holy cow! What the heck? Oh no, dude, fat finger. Oh, dude, we're memeing. We're memeing now. 49 works for me, dude. Whoa. Well, you know, that was painful. Whatever. Alright, let's go try to kill this Arbiter guy. Kind of show you what the build can do here. And I think this is like Arbiter 2. Yeah, Arbiter difficulty 2. I did him the first 2 times I did him, I just kind of killed him like instantly. So I don't really know like his mechanics or anything. which is kind of sad because this looks like a pretty cool fight. Hopefully I don't whiff it. We'll see. It's like a Dark Souls fight. Oh, spoiler alert, by the way. Spoiler alert. My bad. A little bit late on that one. Okay, what's he gonna do here?
Affliction upon her will soon be erased.
What's going on, dude?
Coursing through time to find you.
Okay, cool. Looks like we killed him. I had no idea what was going on there, but I guess we take it. Oh, and we got that cool armor. Invictus. So yeah, so that's kind of the build. I definitely whiffed that a little bit. That's my fault. Yeah, so just don't whiff it, and I think you'll like insta kill him probably if you don't mess it up. If you get an Asher Mentis, you'll definitely insta kill that dude. Like that guy just stands no chance at that point. Yeah, I'm gonna put a link in the video of a T16 ravine that I think I did in like 40-ish seconds, something like that, if I'm just ballparking it. But yeah, that's the build. If you have any questions, just go ahead and ask me. My name is Dutin. Dutin in game. So just you can shoot me a message and I'll gladly answer it. Thank you. Have a good day.